For over 18 months ago, Volvo released their fully electric flagship SUV called EX90. Was it worth the wait? And how does it compare to its sibling built upon the same platform, the Polestar 3? That's what I'm going to answer today. Welcome to It's Only Electric. This is my full review of the EX90.
It's only electric.
And you know what? It's big. It's a 6 to 7 seater and measures 504 centimeters in total length with a wheelbase of 2.98. And as all Volvos, it is also very heavy, 2.8 tons. That's the curb weight. And that's partly due to a giant battery pack. So NMC pack with a gross capacity of 111 kilowatt hours and net capacity of 107. The WLTP range spans up to 620 kilometers. But since this is the all-wheel drive or twin motor performance version with 22-inch rims, it shrinks down to 601. And since this is the twin motor performance version, it has two permanent magnet motors, one here at the front putting out 180 kilowatts, one at the rear putting out 200 kilowatts, combined 380 kilowatts, 517 horsepower or 910 newton meters of torque. That's a lot of power. So 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 4.9 seconds. Top speed 180 kilometers per hour. This is equipped with extra big rims, so 22-inch, covered for better aerodynamics, running on a staggered setup, so 295/35 at the back, 265/40 here at the front, Pirelli Scorpion tires with acoustic foam inside for a lower cabin noise. And when looking at the exterior design, especially here at the front, you see that this is the next iteration compared to the current XC90. That car, by the way, is 10 years old. Of course, after a couple of facelifts, still looks good, but this is the next thing. And it's similar to Volvo's other EVs, like the Volvo EX30. Carries the same Thor's hammer LED pixel lights here at the front, the sloping bonnet. By the way, it hides a frunk of 46 liters storage. The closed grille, very sleek and like easygoing Scandinavian design here, with the big Volvo logo emblem here at the center spot. A front-facing 360 view camera, a washer fluid nozzle. The black details here hides active vents. They are actually closed now, and also hidden parking sensors here at the front. All in all, a very good looking car. And as you see here, also spray nozzles for cleaning the headlight unit. And underneath here, it actually hides the real headlight unit, because now it's closed. And this is how it looks with the daylight running lights on. It opens up and hides pixel LED lights underneath. On top of the roof, you see that bump. That's a LiDAR, and that's for better self-driving capabilities. And that's also one of the reasons for why the EX90 was delayed. Charge port placed here at the left rear fender. It's a manual port for such an expensive car, but I mean, it works. Charging specs, DC charging, 250 kilowatts, 400 volts. That's a bit odd, isn't it? It's built on the SPA2 platform, so it has the same charging specs as the Polestar 3. So 250 kilowatts, 10 to 80% in around 30-31 minutes. And that's only achievable on chargers that can have that output. Normal 400 volt CCS2 chargers can only output 200 kilowatts. So you need to visit a charger like Tesla superchargers, then you will be able to charge it at a rate of 250. Otherwise, 200 is what you will see. Home charging, AC charging, 11 kilowatts, 3-phase support. And when looking at the rear, it may be one of the best angles, one of the best design features, and one of the strongest Volvo DNA designs. If we start looking here at the taillights at the top here, very Volvo-esque from the 90s actually, and they are keeping that. You also have this wide shoulder design and this arch-shaped tail lights. They also get connected by a black bar here, the center spot, big logo on top, rear-facing backup camera, washer nozzle, also here at the back. A really clean and straight design here from Volvo makes up for some extra boot capacity and headroom for that third row. And it isn't really a Volvo if it isn't practical. So let's check out the boot capacity. Now, the third row is actually up straight, and this cargo space is 324 liters, and that's together with 72 liters here at the lower part underneath the floor. If you fold the seats, you have buttons for it here. So automatic folding, you get 697 liters of boot capacity. This is really big. If you fold the second row, you will get over 2,100 liters of storage capacity. It's possible to equip it with a tow hitch with a tow capacity of 2.2 tons. And since it's equipped with air suspension, you can also lower it when you want to load heavy things. There's two buttons for adjusting the height here at the back. 12-volt outlet. You have hidden cargo securing hooks, or grocery bag hooks actually. You also have a partial shelf divider or a cover, but only for the rear part as a standard. So you will only be able to cover the last part and not the part for the third row. So if you have the third row down, you will still be able to see inside the boot. And for that, there is a extra equipment for covering that last part too. The nice thing is that this part is actually possible to stow away underneath the floor. So you just remove it if you want to cover up. If not, you store it here. Let's start with the second row, the back seat, and have a look at the space and comfort. The seat is adjusted after my drive position. I'm 193 centimeters tall, or 6'4", and I know you guys sometimes complain about you don't put a tall person like you in the second or third row, but I will do that anyway, just to show you and to help you be able to compare different cars. And that also goes for the EX90. Sorry guys. And as you see, I fit, there is no problem. Headroom, a lot of headroom, almost 2 fists, 1.5 fists of headroom. And the panoramic glass roof actually helps out to give us some more headroom. So for grown-ups, traveling here at the second row is actually quite comfortable. Footwell room, really good because the seats are sitting really high up. No problem at all. And my knees are slightly touching the front backrest, but still a nice seating position. The back rests are actually possible to angle. So this is the most backward leaning or decline position, kind of resting position, really nice. And as you see, the headrests are good. Nice and good looking headrests, similar to the ones at the front. And the position is good. You can't adjust the height of it, but you can adjust the height of the one here at the center. Nice, comfy position. Let me fold that straight up again. Here at the midsection, we have a armrest. That's nice, also well cushioned. 2 adaptive cup holders. I like the fabrics. This is called the wool ash interior, not leather as you see, but more sofa or living room like. And I like both the color and the fabrics, the looks of it. It's really modern and Scandinavian, let me state it that way. And you also see the flag here, the Swedish flag. You have one at the front too. So Volvo is still proud of the Scandinavian, the Swedish design, and that's good to see. Comfort-wise, thigh support, decent. Air vents at the B-pillars, air vents here at the midsection, and it actually has 4 climate zones, 2 at the front, 2 here at the rear, so you can actually individually adjust the temperature at each side. Also, heated seats at the 2 other positions. Control that on the same screen. And underneath that you have 2 USB-C ports for charging your devices, mesh pockets on each side, pockets in the doors with lighting inside it. Overall, the quality, the look and feel is really premium. I mean, this is a premium car, and that also goes for the second row. Now, I'm gonna jump into the back, to the third row, and see, can I sit behind myself again? Let me see if I can climb into the back. You pull the lever here at the top and push the seat forward. Then you will get a decent amount of room to climb in. I'm probably not the perfect person to squeeze in. I agree with you guys. Oh, come on. Yes. So now my knees are in place. Let me pull that seat back. Yes, so now I'm actually sitting behind myself twice in the third row. And it's possible. It's not the most convenient seating, but for kids, this is more than enough. This is actually good. I actually managed to squeeze in my 2 kids, and they are 13. They sat here both at the back, a bit cramped, but they still managed to sit here. So 7 persons, that will work. When it comes to headroom, I mean, it is actually not that bad for a third row. I thought it would be even worse. I can't travel here. I can't sit straight. My head is touching, of course, but still. You have cup holders, you have USB-C ports, 1 at each side. You even have your own air vent at the C-pillar. And cabin light, reading lights, dimmable reading lights. That's nice. So the quality, the premiumness continues all the way to the third row. Impressive. And this is the most backward position. So that means that you can actually push the seats forward a bit because they are on kind of rails. So we can push them forward for like 10 centimeters. And that will mean that you will get more legroom here at the back actually. That's good. So if you have kids, you can actually adjust the amount of space on the both second rows, which is really convenient. Front seats, let me close the door. It has soft closing doors. That's nice. Most oftenly, I close it without noticing the soft closing doors because the doors are still heavy. And the door sound is not as premium as expected, but it's okay. Frame doors, dual pane windows, so acoustic glass here at front and at the rear. So silent cabin is promised. When it comes to the screen layout and the layout as such, it's very modern, it's very living room like, and I must say that it's very Model X inspired. I mean, it's a bit Spartan. There is no hardware buttons, and that was okay back in 2022. Now, most brands add control panels with at least shortcuts, hardware buttons for the most important functions. The EX90 does not have that, because back in 2022, when they actually revealed the cars didn't have that, and people didn't ask for that. Now they do. So I expect a facelift for the interior, not so far away, to be able to catch up and to be able to attract the right buyers. But I really love the design, the layout, the material. So this is white ash oak or something like that. And you have leatherette on top with stitching, soft touch. It's a nice look and feel. This could be a bit better, but I mean, they need to save weight somewhere. In front of the driver, we have a 9-inch instrument cluster horizontal, placed on top of the steering wheel column, which makes it very nice because you always have it in eye of sight. Nothing is covering it. A good looking steering wheel. Unfortunately, there is black piano finish on the control parts, and there is no dedicated buttons. There's more haptic touch feel to them. A bit fiddly, a bit hard to get used to. Good thing though, compared to the Polestar 3, they work. They have features, they have functions, you can use them. So I'm not gonna complain too much about that. Heated steering wheel, a bit to the thinner side, size-wise good. To the left, you control the information on the instrument cluster and the driver assist functions like increasing and decreasing the speed. To the right, we have the media controls and voice assistant activation. Vertical screen, 14.5 inch, the central media screen, running on Android Automotive. Lacking a bit of features, I still like that it's built on Android because we have a lot of applications. I mean, you can download your own applications. I downloaded Spotify today, for instance. You can go into the Google Play Store and download whatever applications you want, and that's suitable and works on this car. For instance, Max, HBO Max, the streaming function, Netflix, YouTube, etc. The best thing though is that they are using built-in Google Maps. So this is the native navigation system. And Google Maps is the one I use daily. So it's, according to me, the best system for navigation. So I'm really happy to see that. Underneath the screen, the central compartment here is nice and tidy. This ash wood, white wood is also covering this part. Most further to the front, we have a horizontally aligned Qi charger. It's ventilated, so that's good. But it also acts like a key card activator. So if you want to drive with your key card, you need to have it at that place. That means that you can't charge your phone at the same time. You have the rotary device for controlling the volume and media. If you press it, you pause. If you press again, you play. You can push it to the right, you skip the song, you push it to the left, you go back one step. Good implementation. 2 hidden cup holders. They are adaptive, both of them. And in front of that, we have the armrest, well cushioned, same as in the Polestar 3, and a very deep pocket or storage compartment here. 2-level storage actually, so you can open a part of it and you will get the double amount of storage. You have lighting inside it, so plenty of storage. And whilst talking about storage, there's also a big compartment of storage here underneath that section with 2 USB-C ports and a strap for securing kind of a bottle or your phone or something like that. It's felted, so soft, and will not make that much of rattling sounds. That's good to see. And whilst talking about storage, there's also storage bins, big storage bins in the door pockets. And the overall material feels is soft touch stitching. This fake leatherette armrests are well cushioned, well positioned, both at the left side and here at the center. You have this kind of Volkswagen ID car window toggler, so you need to press it if you want to control the windows at the back, and press it again if you want to control the windows at the front. So you only have 2 power window controllers, and you have a haptic touch for unlocking and locking the doors. I'm not a fan of that. Volvo usually does great seats, and that goes for the EX90 too. This is the premium seats with the built-in massage and heating at both positions. You control everything from one joystick kind of designed feature, a button. So you control all the parts of the seat. If you press it, you control the backrest. If you press it again, you control the angle of the seating position. And this is nice because it's really steep. And I must say that together with the thigh support, it's extendable, even if it's manual. Tall people like me get very good support. The seating part is a bit flat, not that much of bolstering at the sides, but still the backrests makes up for that because they are well bolstered and keeps you in place. One sad thing is that the headrests are not adjustable, and since this is running on Bowers & Wilkins premium sound system, they have built-in speakers inside, but they are well cushioned, they are nice. I think they are exactly the same as in the Polestar 3 actually. As I mentioned, it's equipped with the Bowers & Wilkins high fidelity 25 speaker, 1610 watts sound system. It's sound processing by Dirac. It has Dolby Atmos support. It's a great system. It's so good. It's so detailed. It's really nice. But I can't tell you if it's worth the upgrade. To upgrade from the 15 speaker setup Harman Kardon system to the Bowers & Wilkins system. I mean, 3,000 euros or 36,000 Swedish crowns. I think that's the cost for it. It's a lot for a sound system. And I can say that it's a very good system. It's crisp, it's very detailed, and it's perfect for live music, for classical music. You hear every tone, and it also has a good amount of bass. What disappoints me a bit is the rattling. I mean, the cabin rattles a bit when I turn up the volume. And I was really not expecting that for such a expensive car, and especially not from a Volvo. I mean, I have tested out sound systems in older V60s, etc., and they still hold up good. You don't have that rattling sounds in those cars. In this one, you have though. So maybe it's a production issue or something needs to be fastened or tuned. I'm not sure, but that disappoints me a little bit. And I'm very prone and I'm very irritated on missed sounds. So that's something that disturbs me. Other than that, the system is flawless. So when driving it, you immediately get the feeling of comfort and premiumness. So smooth, despite running on gravel and potholes, it's extremely silent. And it's extremely soft, almost like floating around. And I have been driving this for a couple of days, and that goes for all surface materials. It's smooth and silent in all situations due to or thanks to the air suspension. It's running on dual chamber air suspension with active frequency dampers, so the dampers adapt to the current driving situation and the road conditions. So it stiffens up when necessary and it softens when that's plausible. It's really like running on clouds, a bit too soft, some may say. It depends on the use case of the car. It's not a sports car, and it's most certainly not close to the driving dynamics of the Polestar 3. It's so differently tuned compared to this car. That one is so much tighter. The steering is more direct. The suspension is not as wobbly. You don't have the body roll that this car has. It's a totally different tuning. And that's really interesting to see how Polestar and Volvo really are able to differentiate the dynamics of these two cars. Even if it's on the same platform, even if it's two big and heavy cars, they behave totally different. Without pushing it, it's very soft, a bit spongy, a bit boaty in its characteristics. But when I push it, now in sport mode, it immediately stiffens up and the dampers get a lot stiffer, a lot quicker than when I drive it calm. So feels like it's doing a great work adapting. So it's kind of two-faced. Even if it's very comfortable, it's still possible to push it. Not as much as the Polestar 3 as I mentioned, but still this big car still possible to push. Let us check out the drive mode settings or the driving dynamics. There is not much to talk about, but if you go to settings, driving, and let's start with the driving dynamics submenu. We have something called view all, and that's like the sub tab for all the driving dynamics. At the top we have the one pedal driving, more about that soon. Underneath that we have the performance all-wheel drive. I mean, and that's it. I mean, that's the setting you can use if you want to have full power or less normal power. So the difference is in the acceleration curve. You get more aggressive curve, more direct power compared to that turned off. Underneath that you have the steering wheel feel, and you have soft and firm. And let me state it that way, it's soft in both settings. There is nothing called firm. I mean, it's called firm, but it is not firm. It's soft. And this is actually a big difference compared to the Polestar 3. That car felt more sporty and more direct in the steering wheel too. Not only the suspension and the power distribution, but also the steering feels a lot more sporty. This one is soft and towards comfort in both settings. So I always run it on firm. Then you have suspension feel, two settings, soft and firm. And soft is very soft, a lot of body roll, very leaning, bending when taking corners. In firm, it's also very soft, really tuned for comfort. It's really tuned for, I would say, the American market, but also the Chinese market. They tend to like softer cars, more comfort and softer suspension. It's not like the European suspensions. It's softer. The last setting is off-road, and that's more or less adjusting the height of the car and the four-wheel drive system, optimizing it for off-road driving. So we're not going to use that today. I mean, that's more or less it. So if you're looking for a lot of vehicle dynamics or driving dynamic settings, this is not the car for that, and that's in line with Volvo's philosophy. You should just drive it. Don't worry about the settings. We handle that. We fix that for you. I appreciate that, and I understand that philosophy and strategy. I still want a bit more of settings, even if this works for 95% of the cases. I mean, you most often don't need to adjust the driving dynamics settings, so I get the strategy. One pedal driving, you have three different settings: off, auto, and on. So on off, it coasts. And it's a heavy car, so it will coast. That's for sure. If I set it to auto, it continues coasting, and sometimes it brakes and it adapts to the conditions. The driving conditions, cars in front of you, corners, buildings, etc. All those things will make the region to adapt depending on that situation. Then you have on. And this is the real setting, the only setting for one pedal driving. I switch it on and it actually comes to a full stop immediately. And let me show you that again, because this is a really nice implementation of one pedal driving. And it's so smooth. You don't feel the friction brakes. You don't hear anything. It's a great implementation. I mean, this is one of the better one pedal drivings on the market. And I'm really glad to see that Volvo does this for real. I mean, for me, this is one of the most important aspects of a electric vehicle. One pedal driving, full implementation in a very smooth and sophisticated way. This is the way to go. So we have went through all the aspects of the EX90. How does it live up to the expectations? My expectations, and how does it compare to the Polestar 3? I have talked about the comparison during the video, And I think you get the point. I mean, it's a car towards comfort. It is not as near as sporty as the Polestar 3. The Polestar 3 is really unique when it comes to its sportiness and its dynamics. It's a car that you really want to push because it like wants you to drive it hard. I mean, it likes to accelerate, it likes cornerings, at least feels that way. This one doesn't have that aspect. This one doesn't encourage you to push it, to take sharp corners. This is a car that tells you to like, okay, keep a straight line. I will make sure that you will arrive rested and nice at your destination. And I mean, I appreciate that. It's very clear, and that's the purpose of the car. You can fit all the kids. You can have it as a soccer mom car, driving your kids to the trainings, and it will be a great car for that. But it's a bit expensive for that purpose only. So we haven't talked about the price point yet, but this specific car cost 1.2 million Swedish crowns or 110,000 euros. But it's kind of the highest spec version. So it's twin motor, ultra performance, high fidelity sound system, bigger rims, 7 seats. So you have like everything. It starts at 84,000 euros or 960,000 Swedish crowns, almost 1 million. It's a expensive piece of machinery. With that said, it's a premium car. There is not many cars in this segment yet. I mean, you have the Kia EV9, 7-seater. This is not a Kia EV9. Even if the Kia EV9 is a great car, it's better in many aspects, but this is a more premium car. I mean, the suspension, the silence in this cabin is great. It's so comfortable. It's so tuned for long trips. I think the only one meeting this segment currently available in the market, fully EVs, is the Nio EL8 maybe, because that's also a very refined car. Maybe a step up compared to the EX90. But compared to the Polestar 3, as I have been comparing it during the video, it is two very different cars. Even if they are built on the same platform and are similarly sized, the Polestar 3 doesn't have the 6 or 7 seat setup. It's a lot more sporty. You can't compare the driving dynamics. Even if it has the same motors, the same performance, the same battery, it's so different because the cabin is so silent, the suspension is so smooth, the acceleration is really building up the power slowly. So if you're after a sporty feel, this is not the car for you. Go for the Polestar 3 if you don't need the 7 seats. If you are after comfort and a premium 7-seater, this may be one of your few alternatives. What disappoints me a bit is the system. I mean, it's lacking functionality. For instance, I can't preheat the battery pack when I want it to preheat before charging. It activates automatically if you navigate to a fast charger. That's sad. Please give me that button. I want to do that manually when I want it to. And it's lacking functions. And there is still a lot of bugs. I'm not exaggerating if I say that 90% of the time, it doesn't beep when I go too fast because it doesn't show me the speed. It doesn't recognize the speed on the road I'm driving on. That's happening all the time. And that's strange. I mean, you should be able to pick up the speed from the GPS or the cameras for picking up the speed from the signs, the road signs, but it doesn't. Something is really wrong when it comes to the speed limit recognition. And the self-driving capabilities is really not on par with a lot of other brands. Even if it works, it's a bit wobbly and the LiDAR doesn't really yet seem to do any big difference compared to cars without LiDAR. The last two things that disappoints is the lack of physical buttons. At least a couple of favorites underneath the screen would have made sense. The charging. I expect a car for 1.2 million Swedish crowns to have 800 volt charging support. Fortunately, they went for 250 kilowatts and they took advantage of the Tesla supercharger network. That's a very clever idea because regular 200 kilowatt charging is really not quick enough for such a big battery pack. I mean, the charge curve is good, but it can't get any better on a 400 volt system. So that's my 2 cents about the Volvo EX90 twin motor performance ultra. Everything you can get. And as I always say, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, engage, write comments, ask me questions, share your thoughts about the EX90. Is this the premium 7-seater to go for if you're looking for a EV? Let me know in the comments. And most importantly, stay electric. Thank you for watching. Speak to you soon.